So basically the fiscal year for holidays are January 1, whereas the fiscal year
That's
money starts.
that's the holidays we're taking this fiscal year.
Okay,
I see it's the same thing.
Well, I think, the same length, okay,
Well, maybe it's a bit.
yeah, because I killed it, because I thought you had killed it.
All we do for us to do, I'm not going to take it down.
that's it.
So Virgil, to answer your question, the only thing I'm asking for next year is take out Juneteenth and make it New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we can do that. If that's, you can make that motion and next, when we get ready to set it.
I did. All right, hold on. Gotta mute myself. We are ready to proceed with,
Start with salaries. Where do we want to start? Where's that?
I prefer to start on the expense side,
Okay.
because I don't know, we haven't really. Did you put 3 people in there?
Sure.
What?
No.
Because I didn't know if we're gonna have a communications department, if we should put the new IT guy for that in their department, or instead of yours, or you want to keep it yours?
But IT for IT.
Okay.
They don't need to work under IT.
We're gonna help.
They don't need to work
Yeah,
under IT.
yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna support communications. but it
Okay.
needs to be under IT. It's
Okay.
not full-time.
All right. Kind of like you do everything else, right? Support everything else. Okay, all right. So you got a third person to add in there. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and go to office supplies. 500. Okay,
Contract services. That's the alarms. They all went up. Just slightly, but enough that I need to add a little bit more money.
okay,
Yeah.
security, burglar alarms,
A lot of them are out of building budgets, but there's still a few that are out of mine.
okay,
On the telephones, that drop is because of the proposed 8x8 countywide system. We're doing away with those hard lines, so we're getting a cost savings there of 47,000.
right,
65,000.
so when will that be?
68.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
What kind of phones are they going
Same system we're gonna get the sheriff's office, supposed to get it countywide,
to do away with these?
do away with those.
Yeah.
Do away with lines, we'll have, the dial by extension to any office in the county.
All the JP offices, all the the DA, everybody will be on the same, basically on the same post. It's VoIP based, it's all over the internet.
But that's what
Like
it's
on my office
$68,000.
desk, there'll still be a phone we can pick up.
Pretty obvious.
That's what I was asking. Is this, you're not gonna do away with the phone, with
There's
this?
some people that will be.
Yeah. Yeah, What are you gonna do? Are you gonna dial over the internet?
You can have it, you can have your calls go to your cell
Speak
phone.
on the,
And it's soft on the PC.
but we'll need a phone to contact people that will, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, me and IT.
It looks fantastic.
Right.
So, but the hard lines that we're paying for now are probably about $80 a line. And if we can get rid of all those and just, still in for faxes or not?
No,
Or is-
there's a couple that I work faxes for, like, adult probation.
Mhm,
There's a lot of that we can do this fax to email,
mhm.
to be way more efficient.
Right.
We have to do paper.
There are some in certain costs that we have to have, taken on the tax.
You can still print that out.
There's services that you can do there, so that's very good. So where is,
Yeah.
so, training at 5,000, is that going to be enough with the new radio system training? Don't you have to go to Virginia for a week or two?
And you got the Bears conference too. They're only paying for the train itself. We gotta do travel and lodging.
And that $5,000 do a lot of travel and lodging.
Actually, 6,000, 5+1.
The one out here is conference.
We're gonna see.
5,000.
Next line,
1,000
next line is travel.
Oh.
That's like spring or something.
We're gonna try to schedule that from Texas.
All depends.
So 5,000 would probably be sufficient. If you, for the radio training and all.
What kind of training do you have as IP related on this radio? And how many people you can send it? Just to verify that is enough for all the training you got to do, for your department has to do.
The only thing I'm planning on going is to the, like I did before with that.
Technology conference in Round Rock, and that wasn't much at all. As far as registration,
It's not much as registration, but what gets you is a hotel.
that's what.
That's what eats your lunch, and all of these hotels that went up $150 to $200. They don't give you no deal anymore.
I just want to make sure you're not counting that five strictly for L Harris. But you
Okay.
still got the rest of your
No,
department.
actually, this 5 was strictly for ID. I haven't really added over there to that part. When I go on, does the other guy go on the boat going? We're not, one of them.
So I don't want you plan to sit there and play all your IT stuff or why. I just want to make sure you're gonna wind up doing, you do a lot right now. Like Trevor said, hotels are only $200 a night.
Everything's going up.
You gotta go to Virginia, you said?
Yeah,
That's a plane ticket.
Yeah.
Which would be cheaper than driving it though.
That's not extra drive.
you get there before the plane would. All right, so we'll leave it at 5,000 for now with the $1,000 on travel.
The travel is just our driving around in the.
Miles.
Yeah. And I went up on that because there's gonna be a little bit more on that going. around.
Right, to the radio towers. Okay, office equipment repair and maintenance.
That stays about the same, that's just when something breaks down, we gotta fix it, it's something we don't have planned for.
Mhm.
And over the past few years, that's about what I run, about $6,000 to repair something. Phone system break. We have different phone system, but server goes down, yeah. Switch goes down.
Okay,
That's kind of one of those.
I don't have any issues with that.
The 457 is going up. There's a lot of things we added in 457.
What are we at?
A lot of them in the sheriff's office really.
Okay,
So, QuickBooks and all that stuff, that was going up. That was going up 2,000, but it may go. We're not exactly sure, we know it's at least going up 2,000.
Well, is the contract is going up 2,000 and. For 1,000 and 2,000 and 2,000, there's a 3-year contract that had a progressive payment.
I added $4,280 for college renewal in mine, because they keep letting it expire at the jail. So I'm gonna keep up with that one.
Okay. And what about the watch guard service? Was that added into that?
Watch guard security. That was 7,500.
Yeah.
And then the watch guard video is 35,508.
Yeah. Now that was is that a one-time expense this year?
That's the annual. That's the annual cost for that. For all the body cameras.
Hmm.
That's for the cloud service. We didn't get new cameras on the cars, but the cars that are currently
Using watch guard service.
That app is going to go up because we have to replace that app. Thing with that app is what we've currently got are 2 storage systems, one in the sheriff's office, and one over here. And we've had those for 10, 12 years. They hit end of life. We got an extension to January. Better plans that have a mirror back to each other is having them send their backups on the cloud.
Mhm.
That way, if we got hit with a ransomware, we would have a backup. It's not on site. So that's a much better way to do it in case we do get hit by ransomware.
So is that in process? Are we looking at doing that, or is that in the plans for this next year?
That's in the plan for next
Okay.
The 8x8 of the countywide, we've already approved the 13,700 for the sheriff's office. Current phone system. Countywide is going to be almost double that, 26,412.
And how many phones, is that based on the number of phones?
That's the number of lines.
Not-
And users. It's a mix.
Does 8x8 provide the communication, the VoIP service too, or is that, will that be Lantana?
That'll be LinkedIn.
Okay,
LinkedIn is doing the porting for us. Any software at the sheriff's office, but I'm trying to pull back and then you have to keep up with that stuff. Oh, this needs to go up. We're using a business standard right now. We need to be using the government license, called G3 license. And it's what we're paying right now is 12 a month per user.
right,
This would be 24 per month per user. But it lets us do a lot more stuff and it's way more secure. It meets all the federal standards on security. HIPAA, all the FBI, CIA. So we'd be able to do some share and stuff like that.
Mhm. Okay, and you said you got Adobe in there, right? Or is that in this
Yes.
Adobe? Yeah.
Everybody now needs Adobe Acrobat Pro, so I'm gonna do 100 licenses to start. And now, because right now, we've got 2017 licenses, they've expired anyway.
Mhm.
We would have to upgrade those. That's gonna be an added 10,351 to the budget.
We probably save that much in the copies that we're not making for the commissioners report.
Fewer things printing.
Yes.
Yeah. More, less paper. Less fact.
Okay. And do you have in there the Barracuda software that we use and for the spam filtering?
Well, the Barracuda for the sheriff's office is already out of there. The watchguard firewall do that service.
Okay. So we're dropping Barracuda.
We don't have Barracuda anymore on our computers.
The Barracuda watchguard. Take that up. Which offsets some of the cost of that one.
This category also includes net data, LGS, and
Oh, yeah. That data LGS.
Correct.
I think we're still paying for. Well, we got Southern, that's a huge.
That supposed to be ready any day now.
The sheriff,
So that's, we still have net data financial, that's in,
right?
and we still have, $6,900 for RBI. Maybe it's really good to pay. Separate from that. Now we're ice increased because we're going up on, going to a different, higher level of numbers. That's like, application markers, all that. Yeah. Yeah, we propose to do that.
Okay. So, and so you got net data, what was that, RDI, did you say?
REI,
REI, okay,
it's for the financials. You know,
Okay.
and invoices.
and LGS is in there too, that's like 6,000 a month.
That data total is almost 72,000.
Okay, yeah,
Well, that doesn't even include the RBI because it's separate. So if you add the RBI to that, it's almost 78,000. LGS is 98,000. Southern software is total 33,252.
well, that was last year.
35,996.
I think it's gonna go be closer to 40 this year. And what's the one, justice? Are we still paying justice?
We are.
Solutions?
So they get that converted. I didn't put that on the budget, so I really hope we don't participate. in
Okay.
any more errors. But I've been over that for a while. Oh, the easy block. Yeah, it's at the same, it's 15.6. That's out of this budget. And we put the cybersecurity in there. And we have to pay for the cybersecurity. They used to give it to us for free.
Was the beyond trust or what's that?
One of those sport. Yeah. Yeah, that's all. So then to maintain the inlets.
Sure. That's the fingerprint system. So basically, the increase is from increased services such as watch guard. Video services and
That's so, I think they went across the board about 10%.
yeah.
Hey, Scott, on the. I don't know how to. I don't understand all the software stuff. Like you said, Southern, and I'm just going, I talked to a constable. I think it was Pat Jordan I was talking to. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like he may use Southern or and this constable may use this. They use different software stuff. Like different entities use different software, even though it's the same thing.
We have, where they could be used in Southern and Southern Bend.
Would it?
When they buy other stuff, it's someplace.
Well, what I was just thinking, if you could consider, paying for Southern here and paying for whatever the other company is here, even though it's the same thing. Just drop one and consolidate and have everybody the same thing, would it save us money?
And because of our site licenses from Southern, it doesn't cost us anymore to add the cost to that.
Okay.
It costs us more to have the other software.
So cop sync.
Thank you.
Yeah, CopSync was the other one. Seems like Southern and CopSync were the same thing.
Because it costs us anything else, the money costs us on Southern.
Okay, so I guess now since you said CopSync, that ring a bell. Is Southern and CopSync the same thing?
They do similar stuff.
They're two separate
They,
companies.
they are.
They do similar things.
They do the
Okay.
same job.
Would it save us money if we all just went to either all CopSync or all Southern? Would it save us money?
Pat's the only one that uses cop scene, so he. Did he pay for
If
that?
Bob was there, he used Southern.
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like we all should get on the same page is all I'm trying to get at. And if it would save us money, it makes sense.
You could quote that bill that time, whenever it would have to be on that.
Pat came in and said that he had to have it, and so,
We initially did that, I think about it,
right,
because of Southern software, because we had money in the budget to pay that, I had to put the money.
and,
You can't.
Yeah.
You can give it to him, and then he can send it.
Right.
Thanks.
Right.
He won't stop.
Okay,
If they could be on Southern at no additional cost.
okay, all right.
So the county's not technically
Spending more money.
supporting CopSync.
Right, but it's not costing us any more money because it's already budgeted.
No, it's costing us money.
Money.
out of his budget,
But
he budgeted, so yeah,
It's cost us money.
yeah.
It's costing us
Right,
money.
but it's not
You're
costing
paying
us,
the
it's not
county.
costing us more money.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
costing us more
It
money.
is costing us more money.
Sure it is.
They could run on Southern.
He can get Southern for
Not
nothing. He's
you
paying
did.
extra for cops. It is costing the county, it's costing the taxpayers more money. Because our company to go with is Southern. That's who we pay for.
Okay,
We
all right,
got
okay.
a site license for Southern, so adding users is not cost us anything. In that regard, issue is that a lot of the police departments in the county use CopSync. And a lot of people are familiar with CopSync and they don't want to change.
It's exactly what it is. You're
So,
exactly right. And so our taxpayers pay for him not wanting to change. Or him or me or anybody else not wanting to change. They're paying for it.
all right, anything else under the maintenance service contracts that we should know about? That we need to know about? All right, equipment lease, 11,000. Now, how? Sandy, how are we handling the new GASB rules and splitting up the equipment between
That 463 line, you can see it's Southern maintenance.
right?
That's.
That's over,
That's overage, okay,
Tommy's over there.
okay,
Then the 578 at the bottom, in capital outlay is the copy,
okay.
just the actual copy lease.
Places.
And I got a list and I found 76, but I put the final.
Oh. Okay.
We moved.
Yes, I've got it.
We moved 50,000 there, Mountain Street,
I didn't have to put those on those.
and then I got. So I got my list, 76,000.
We'll have to add it to the budget. I didn't have that on the screen.
I went this, there we go, right? This is what's gonna come out, of that, 76,000.
So that's what it is.
It's gonna be.
So y'all will come up with that number.
So on 578. And he said that he.
77,000.
Okay. And that's for Pitney Bowes and phone system?
Huh? Well, the Congress would be only again, but it's still. Are we using those funds or?
We're just paying the service for.
I think it's getting more than any book. I can talk. I have it wrong.
Right now, I got it in,
Started to make the contract.
so we can leave it.
We have a game, we have the other game, the software, we have the lab. All that. This.
So that number we just had, is that kind of, we should put the phone system in?
Probably gonna need to see the contract to determine how to account for it. What it amounts to. Find out if we're leasing the equipment or owning equipment, so.
But see, the copiers fall in there, so we don't actually copy, we're using that.
Mhm.
And I thought we were using this. We'll pull that out. So that only means that.
So really, the money's probably in there, it's just not in the right, all the right categories.
Well, not the
right?
50 most part, so
Okay.
we do need to bring it up to 65. and cover the 50.
Okay, the lease option equipment, yeah, because it's 10,000 a year for Pitney Bowes.
8750.
Okay. 9,000. Bring it up to 60, just make it 64. Okay. Is that everything? And then you got 165,000 for office equipment, that's replacing computers, upgrading computers.
Placing computers, servers. There's several things that we have to change out every few years.
So
Try to rotate about a fifth of our machines out every year. So
Okay.
we have a 5-year cycle run. And I put an additional, usually I do 5 control laptops. This year I did 10 control laptops. We had so many over 8 now, we've got at some point, so I had 10. Probably why it's a little higher.
those are the ruggedized versions, whatever.
Yeah, they did. Oh, they were right at 2,000, now they're about 23, 2400. Yeah, everything did go up, so. Pretty much an inflationary increase on us.
So are you gonna use up the budget from this year? You got stuff ordered, but
Yes, I'm
coming in?
plan on getting 2 fairly large servers that I can do virtual machines on,
Mhm.
one for the sheriff's office and one for the courthouse.
Okay,
And we can start, we've got some older servers we need to start getting off. We're working on pricing them. kind of hold off to the end on that major purchases.
Right.
Nothing weird happens.
Right. So you got,
We get down towards the end, that'll start coming down pretty quick.
any other questions?
Are you wanting to add an employee, Scott?
Yes.
I'm just gonna,
The proposed salary includes, me resting in the third person.
all right, I guess I was. Why do you think you need another employee? I guess I was asking.
Support the radio
It's
system.
another 7 years.
What, they're supporting the radio system,
The new radio system.
new radio system. Part of the concept of having someone on our staff that supports the radio system is we don't have to pay Ellsworth Harris to do the programming or troubleshooting, we can do it ourselves, which is save us a significant amount of money, plus save us time. So that's what,
So would this be different from what? Well, I think we were doing the sheriff's budget. They were talking about giving somebody a car to go from the towers for IT guy.
They work together. You need two people handling that, so if one leaves or something happens, somebody else knows what's going on there. You can't just have one person doing it. So the two will work together and manage and maintain the system. You have one from the IT perspective and one from an operational perspective. So yes, sir, they do kind of tie together. But it's two separate line items. The IT handles there, the IT.
That's kind of how they got. Interesting, guys, they got lined up, carry the other.
I like the way Henderson County handles their IT with the radio system. That's. Probably gonna do something else, but I like the way that.
but they have 4 people.
Yeah.
How many?
It's 5 now.
We had a pretty good conversation with them. We got to go with the player. I'm gonna get you.
Anything else? All right. You want to take a 5-minute break, or do you have anything else, Scott?
Yeah, I need a 5-minute break.
Let's take a 5-minute break, and then who's at, we got the county clerk and elections at 11. So that's what we'll come up with next.
Scared the shit out of me.
No, no,
I think that's more than that.
never done. Never done. 10 million, 600,000 every year. For the maintenance and employees.
I know that's one thing.
No, evidently it was before January 1st, but sometime or another. This court has to decide every year. When I'm. We don't want to leave. And that's why you look at it. If it's, that's why, if, for instance, if New Year's Eve is on a Sunday or a Saturday, you use that day somewhere else.
You just
Because-
Monday, the next month, the Monday after something, it don't matter. I just didn't know you. For some reason, I thought we were doing it now, which I knew we wouldn't, so we can't do that. But I thought we did it, if October 1st, we budget holidays.
Sometime or another, we'll have to- it may be October, I don't know when.
I would do it October, so we can get New Year's Eve off.
So, you know, you're not gonna make them happy. They're gonna, when you do that, when everybody else is off on Juneteenth, they're gonna be ticked off that they gotta work. That's okay. Hey, I'm not saying that, everybody out there, I'm not saying a thing right here, I wouldn't say in front of your face.
No, I don't get me. We're giving them perceived substantial raise and then they won't drop a dollar.
Well, that's exactly right. But,
Look at the good, look at the bad.
yeah. Right from the get-go. Radio expensive, very expensive.
Yes. I do think we need it.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, if we only came in January, I already knew we had to say
We're still.
it's very. We don't know. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, huge expensive apartment.
Still very cheap.
Not when it comes from there. And it never ends.
No, well, it will never end.
It's like a voting machine, as soon as you get them, they're out of date.
Yeah. Same your cell phone. You'll buy a cell phone and 2 months later, hey, you know, you have a new version. No, this is cool.
Christie, y'all got a garden this year?
Yeah.
Good. You doing okay? Maybe time to get close together. Yeah, right. Yeah. I bet if you kind of started this time, you saw purple. Purple. You got it right. That's me. Very dark, you know, and purple. Yeah, yeah.
Hey there. Morning.
Okay.
We're taking a break.
Fast.
We've gone 2 hours or close to 2
I
hours.
don't like it.
Yeah, they don't. Pumpkin. I'll tell you, pumpkin can go up, but it's certain, but time to go big, they're real bright. Yeah. You come in. On the left. Good. No, Rocky don't do it. Yeah, well, it's going to water. Yeah. You can paint water all the way up there through. Hello, Susan.
All right, we're ready to get started. Commissioner Park should be here shortly. Well, we can wait on. There he is.
I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess we'll go through line by line.
Yes, is there any, like, I was looking to see if there's any notes we need to look at it first, but, yes, line by line would be the best way to go about it, so.
So my salary is kept the same. For the employees, we did some research on other counties that were compatible to our size. I did the same thing at one, what Karen did, it was our homework, and pretty much it was going to be, I mean, a $5,000. And I think that's what y'all are kind of considering looking at possibly. We came up with the same counties, we talked, so I can give y'all copies of each one, what their chiefs are making, and also what they're. Copies of that. It'll be paper copies. So, you know, I'll get that to you on that. The one thing that we did have this year, we comp time. We've never had that before, but we do earn comp time. So most of the time that is for, after hours, like after 5, usually we're working on either the deposit for the day or the books for the month. Is where that time comes in most of the time. So, in case you're wondering how that works.
Working on deposits and what else?
Usually the bookkeeping, but I do.
Okay.
Which we need to, this maybe of
Is that for your fully staffed, Susan? Is that the number for fully staffed? Like, I know you're not fully
yes,
staffed.
on the salaries.
Yeah.
That's the fully staffed, yeah.
Okay.
Now, I've got one position open, I'm training one right now. And then once that one there is trained, then we're gonna bring in someone for, try to train for probably some civil. We need a civil clerk, and so right now, when I train, I'm trying to do as much training all the way across the board. I'd like to move one of my employees more into the criminal side of it. I have one full-time criminal clerk, but we need a lot of help in that, so we're gonna be looking for a civil clerk. That, office supplies. It doesn't show up. That question.
I do. On this comp time, why, it wasn't budgeted for 2023?
I asked for it, but I didn't have time. I don't think there's a line item last year or something, but I asked about it. And yeah,
Well, that's right, that because of the preferred thing for the county is for you to let those people off. When somebody works overtime, let them off so that we don't have to pay that. That's,
our board is pumped out at 40. Yes.
So if they're comped out at 40, we have to, yeah, I see what you do.
And so last year, I mean, we talked about it, I asked about it or whatever, but we didn't have that line.
and saying you, and back to your deal, you was wanting to give more time off, and they're not even using the time off that they have available for contact.
And I agree with that, and listen, like with, one of them, I think actually 2 of them, I had to tell her, if you don't take off, you're going to lose your time, you have to take off. But we start getting busy, I mean, I know all the offices are busy, so I'm not busier, I mean, I feel like it is, and it seems like more and more things are being thrown in there, so we don't have time to do what I call our side jobs because of the customers coming in, we're working the county, meanwhile, all our e-file stuff is getting backed up, we have to look at that, and we have 72 hours to get that done. Last year we asked for that line item, but we didn't get that, so this year, the line item is there, and it's all that's, so you can see, I use that.
Does that include election work?
No.
Mhm.
It's totally separate.
It's,
Go ahead.
Okay, so office supplies, I have to put 13,500, we have 12,000 in there, it doesn't look like I've spent a lot, but a lot of this money goes towards. Like I received some quotes for envelopes, The envelopes, we haven't had over as many because we haven't had as many church clients that we normally do. We'll start, I'll get an email, go ahead and call them in, we start getting things ready. And then it goes away. So usually Judge Winters is very good about trying to let us know before we do the mail out. So we're able to sit on our envelopes that we have now. I did check our inventory, we're down to probably about 2 juries that would be calling about 500. And then we have to order. We've got some quotes, we usually will order about 15,000 envelopes at a time. And so when we do that, that price is that right now, $2,782. That'll last us a whole year, so I'm probably gonna go down this budget money for this year, and over, but it takes them months to get that to us. And, you know, the paper, they tell us the back order, and then what's the back order, so am I gonna get it in this budget, or the next budget, I don't know.
But if you ordered it now, you should have it before the.
We hope. I mean, I can't guarantee that. You know, last time Karen had it, we need to do 2.5, we have to be sticking about her. Because they just get it to, I mean, we're willing to.
Are they
order
dirty?
money.
Are they dirty envelopes?
Yes,
Okay. They're all pre-printed, right? It's all the information other than. Right.
it has our information on it. I mean, we've stamped them before, we ordered them blank, it's getting the actual envelope, it's not the print, it's the.
Well,
Okay,
if you order them today and you get 15K, and is that a year's supply?
oh, yeah.
Okay, so you wouldn't need, if you got them in this year's budget money, then you wouldn't need that.
I have, if they're delivered this year and we pay for them this year, we're good, but if they don't deliver till the next year's budget, we pay from the next year's budget, so that's where.
Back to 2020, there's only been $8,000 spent on office supplies on any year. So I personally don't see why you'd want to raise it when you got 12,000.
So look, we need to order 6 scanners. $1,000 each. I talked to Rusty this morning just to make sure that, you know, I said, is it 800, is it 1,000? He said it's more like 1,000. These are the scanners we use every day for case loads that are, and then we were scanning everything in.
So would that be under office equipment rather than office supplies?
We usually pay for down office supply. I think we used it 2 different ways, actually. I think that we bought some out of the IT department. I think one year, I think we had it in the site budget. I think we bought 1 or 2. I bought the thing. I think the first year was in. Okay, so.
Equipment shouldn't come out of supply.
I mean, I just need to make sure, I don't care what this line item, I don't wanna go over my budget.
Right.
Sure. So, I'm for sure in there, if y'all wanna lower it, I'm okay with that. I just don't wanna go over budget, I'd rather give money back at the end of the year. To. How many scanners do you need? 96. Because right now, like, I've got 2 doors without having. And the ones that we're using now, I have we bought 2 that are about 100%. And when you're scanning, it jams, it turns your paper sideways, and you're having green screen, so.
Why aren't you buying them now?
We cleaned them, we, you know, tried to, I want to say refurbish as much as we can.
Why are you waiting the next year to buy them? Is what there's 3,500 budgeted this year with 0 been spent. You could buy those now and we wouldn't have to budget for next year. We could use that.
Maybe 3 even this year and 3 next year. I mean, right now, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I haven't even had time to to look at the whole picture. I mean, when I come to work, I'm working 10 hours a day and I'm not looking at their scans. I'm like, just make it work right now. I've got things I'm doing. I mean, I don't have, you know, it's. I feel like that should be an IT. A little bit of steam, you know, look at them. I just feel.
So
You know, I don't care if y'all want to move this money over.
who ordered the scanners you have now? The ones you got 4 years, you said are 4 years old.
I don't remember who did it through the IT department. I know Scott definitely gave me the numbers and everything.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I ordered them more people. I don't remember what these budget came out of.
Who makes a decision on what scanners to get? Is that something that?
We just stuck with what we had. I mean, like he came up, we looked at it, the
Mhm.
number of them, everything, we looked up online, because I was gonna try to order it just online. But he hasn't, I think he was going for something. I don't know.
So
$100
are
cheaper.
the scanners that we're using or ordering the same as what other county clerks would use? Okay, I just want to know if there's any difference, so.
Yeah. I mean, they last so long.
Mhm. So,
We were hoping to go with this, so we can come to see so much.
so is there any other, we kind of skipped down to office equipment and Keith makes a good point. If you don't have anything you already planning, or if you order half of them this year and a half of them next year, those two are right on target. For that, if they're $1,000 each or so, if that's sufficient.
Yeah.
Is there any other office equipment we need to consider that you need?
You're right.
Is there any other office equipment that you need to consider? The computers wouldn't be.
No, that's pretty much it on
Okay,
equipment.
so now let's go back up to office supplies and. I think we can take 3,500 out and you got the scanners in there, 10,000 probably plenty. Considering the history and what you've got in mind. Would you not agree? Okay,
I mean, that's fine. Along those lines, we did go ahead and we got a big scanner that we were looking at for our class. We
right.
got that downstairs.
Oh, you went and picked it up.
We've got
All right.
That's the one from West Texas.
Huh?
That's the one from West Texas.
And so I need to look and see, it didn't come with paper, but I need to look and see how much a roll of that is going to cost us. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be expensive. We need to order some ink for it, which is gonna be just the blue, it has all the other ink, it still has some of the blue ink, but we need to have another set.
Mhm.
For that, so we just wanna make sure. So I'm looking into that, to see how much it is, I have stock, we just look at that, make sure we need the right information.
Mhm.
So I can never go find that.
I'm-
That'll go under office supplies.
I'm totally lost. I thought the scanner was to scan stuff into our system, not to make print, make the copies.
She's talking about another scanner now.
Yes,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
She's talking about this is the big print one that does
This
big
is for the
class.
Mars and all the subdivision stuff.
This is what we ended up rotating into after talking about the office scanners.
But this big one will scan the big Mylars in as well as print out.
Yeah, we haven't tested it yet, I've got it hooked up and we haven't. It's a big.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why are we printing any copies for subdivisions? They bring the copies to us. Why would we be making
When we
copies?
have customers that come in, who purchase a house in the subdivision and they want a full copy. For example, Virgil came down there and had to make a copy one time, and he had to piece it together, and it was a hot mess, and he said, why do you not have a big copy? Remember?
Well, that was, I did say that, but you had plans to get one donated.
Right, and
I did.
got it.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
so,
But
yeah,
He's asking, you know, why
Well,
do we make copies? Well, customers come in all the time and piece them together.
but you charge them.
We charge
The
the small
customer.
piece of paper. I mean, but, you know, if we do the big sheets, we're gonna be charging.
Yeah.
them.
Right.
But I mean, I'm gonna pay for the paper up front, and then huge roll, and it cuts. how much that paid. You know, $300 for the road, I don't know. My goal is to make sure I do not go over the budget.
I don't think she'll go over, but if we leave it at 12,000, I don't think she'll go. over.
Okay, and I'm good.
All right, leave it at 12. Postage 6,000, that,
Office supplies gonna be put out.
yes, that's what they just agreed to. Postage at 6,000, that should cover the increase if you use. Or
Yeah.
you're only at a third, you're not even a third of what,
To use it because. Okay, so last year when I budgeted, we were starting the e-reporting, didn't know what we were gonna be.
Mhm.
Right? And so that saves us on mail and a lot of our mail towns. And so when I shot this number here, I was just like thinking the increase, whatever. But I actually think that we would probably cut that down and we'd probably do maybe like even 4,000. Just to have a buffer in there. I don't even think we're gonna use that.
Okay,
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Thank you.
I don't even think we're gonna use that because we have started. The e-reporting with the title companies and actually there's. People. You're not gonna own it and it's called.
Mhm.
I just
So I think it's gonna be really good.
thought of something with the postage, and this goes with everybody. If there's money left in that budget for postage for any department, we need to spend every single dollar of that right now, while those stamps are what? What, like 59 cents, or whatever they are, before they get up to 66 cents.
Yeah, postage, the meter rate's much cheaper than the posting.
All right, well, the meter, we need to spend every dollar we got right now that we have budgeted for postage, my opinion, on postage right now. Before this thing goes up, because we'll get more stamps for our buck.
Right, the only people who use stamps are the JP offices and probably the constables, people who are remote.
So anybody who
Everybody
has,
else comes in and uses our postage machine.
well, anybody who has postage in their budget needs to spend that money now before July 9th. Do what?
They already got.
They already have? Okay, so Susan, you've got,
Yeah, but I.
You guys that use postage.
She can't spend her budget. Does it go through postage?
The postage machine is significantly cheaper. We get a discount rate using the metered rate. As opposed to a typical, I think it's 60 cents or.
okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
we're already saving money by using the machine.
Make sure it's everybody.
Yeah, and anytime, if I can say this, from mailing something, and somebody says, hey, you don't have to mail to you, you can email them, that's what we're doing. It saves us a lot of money.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's why we switch everything to e-reporting for the title companies, that's where the money is coming. You can't send it all in one. You have to, every single piece of mail that they mail us, we were doing them individually. For fees, because that's what it's in. Or $4,000 should be.
Okay, contract services,
Okay, on that, here, Sure, I was trying to see who we pay on contract services. Because I'm not really sure, that's not going to be. Yeah, yeah, and so I was looking at that, I don't know. It's not like a total file, it's not gonna be anybody that. Contracts. We've always put that in, but never used it,
can we eliminate it?
sure.
Okay, let's eliminate that. Scanning. Is this contract scanning or is this internal scanning?
No, this is contract scanning.
Okay.
But with this scanning here, if you look at this number, now Michelle and I have gotten together, because part of this money is Sandy, where I do this 66.6% profile or profile, well, it's both. And so we've gone back and forth in this thing, so this one here is the 3.3. And it's Tyler and Hope. This number that's showing what I've used. Is because some of it, I think, was put in incorrectly throughout the year. We have since corrected that. Yes, we corrected on about technology for that. And then go on is the portion that happened. So I don't think this number is correct. This is 2,200. Susan has a separate fund for. Energy.
Secret fund?
Separate. She has a record preservation fund.
Okay,
That is a fee that is charged out of her office. The money goes there, strictly for record preservation. So I don't know if
so does that money offset the expense that we're showing here?
some of it.
Okay,
So I met with Michelle after we was a budget. After I come this in, and what I was trying to figure out is. Even if I did the 33.3% on all the bills between Tyler and COFA. I don't think it'll be the $65,000. I'm thinking more like possibly 40, but I don't know for sure, so. We would know next year exactly what it is, because now we've got it correct, and we know what percentage goes to what. So if y'all want to drop that to 40, and hopefully I stay within that range. And I'll just come back to y'all with the thought of. You know, this percentage. We could do that.
yeah, let's go ahead and drop it to 40. 40?
Yeah. I think so. I think it's-
Okay. Training,
Trying to do that 9,000. It looks like I've got probably about 7 schools. Next year, between me and my staff.
okay,
Everybody's still bringing them.
Well, see, there again, I think. You and your staff for the last, since 2020 has never spent over $5,000. We got 85 in there, but we're upping it by 500.
Because usually, last year, the only staff members that went, we did go to LGS. And I had 2 staff members that went, and then usually we have probate school. But we have to do, this year, we have to do 2 probate schools at least. We're gonna have to do at least a civil or 2 schools, and that's gonna be 2 closed down. And then criminal, we have to have at least 2 go. We just had a stage school. My clerk wasn't able to go to that, and so we're gonna try to make that up. So we're gonna be going, we've got to do this. Yeah, it was. And she couldn't go, so we're gonna try to go to the next one. I don't know where it's gonna be, if they're gonna have one. But, yeah, they could, give us from those and stuff, what she. So where, that on the stage stuff, and that means our grants and so we have to make sure. We know what we're doing.
so you did attend the CGIS or you have to attend the CGIS?
We have not.
Yeah, not attending. So my question is, will you have enough staff to allow you to go to this training? Because it just seems like you were always. Okay.
She's gonna go. And I can't do them all.
You don't have annual training that you have to do annually,
Required.
required annually.
Required.
The clerk, yes, the clerk does, yes.
But I mean, I thought your staff went to annual training that you send them to every year.
No, I mean, I don't have to.
It's not
I usually
required.
will go to the training. But like we do probate schools, we've done civil schools, criminal, I think the first year I was here.
That's what I say, you've done those trainings. Well, that's what I say, in 2020, you spent 2,300, and next year you spent 4,800.
I was the one going. I was the one.
Well, you just said that Thason went too, I asked that question.
Okay. I had, Tina went to the civil training, that was 2 of us, and that was probably about 3 years ago, maybe. 3 or 4 years ago. The rest of them were probate schools. I don't know if Kansas ever been to a civil training. We try to cross train in there, but usually you send one in because you can't have your whole staff going. I mean, I close my office for 1 day so we can do our text editor and birth certificate training. And we had bookings of 1 month for closing the office, and it was like a 6-hour plan. Everybody had to have the training. They didn't give us a choice of what they were gonna do, this is the way they do it, and you have to. At least we were able to do it, here and on our computers. You know, the test at the end of the class and everything.
Well, one thing about it, your office has to say,
Yeah, thanks too. That's
So-
what I was thinking,
you know,
was trying to coordinate who's going to where.
Well,
I've given plenty of money back, I mean.
you got me, you got
So
training
they're
4 or
trying
5 people
Yeah.
2 times, I mean, I don't see an issue with it.
I don't either, but I don't think you'll spend it because,
And if I don't spend it, I give it back, it's not like a.
well,
That's
no
not,
way.
that's not our mentality. We're trying to save, we're trying to spend money in other places, Susan. We don't want to over budget so that you make sure you
Okay,
don't
so
go.
if I go over budget, you're gonna give me money.
I'm not debating with you. I'm telling you, we're not trying to over budget. We're trying to take money and be as thrifty as we can and use it where we need it. That's what I'm trying to do.
I agree with that, but I'm.
That's just a statement. That's not an argument.
No, and I totally agree with that. That's why, with the postage, I started looking at that. I thought, you know what, we haven't spent that. We're trying to save money by doing everything e-recording, so let's cut that back.
But you got 5 girls, including you, correct?
Well, I'm gonna have 6 because I plan on hiring.
Okay, so 6 girls, they have to go to 2 classes a year. That you're gonna train for 2 classes a year. So that's 12 classes, $9,000, we're looking at $700 a class.
Yeah, and that's actually probably under. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when we go to class a lot of times, I run with whoever's with me. I mean, I try to save money for the county.
I was just trying to. It says 9,000, let's break it down what that 9,000 is for. So it's $700 a class per person.
I'm good with that. I'm just trying to be thrifty with
Right.
that.
No, I understand what you're trying to do. We don't need to. Give them 9,000, it's only gonna cost 6,
I mean,
right?
I agree with Andy. We put $9,000 down, but I don't think it'll ever be spent. But anyway, carry on.
Okay, so on the bond. And I'm gonna look into your bond for 4 years, okay, so you're only need to take. You said what? You only need the 5.25. Okay, that's all. Okay, yeah.
Was that bonding right, Sandy?
No, change it to 525.
Yeah.
Oh, change it to 5.25.
It's gonna be-
Okay.
This is mine was broken.
You ready for miscellaneous? You have the 3,000 from 2,000. And we haven't even spent. Most we spent 1,600. So, yeah, I think 2,000 is sufficient. Or discuss the office equipment, so. Are we ready? Yeah, any other comments on this? Before we go to elections? All right, let's move to elections. Yeah, it's.
So. It's, employees, they're $4,500.
Hold on, you gotta find it.
It's right below the, just scroll down on what you got up there. Scroll down on the.
Well, see, I can't see the bottom of the screen, so I don't. I still don't see it, so somebody tell me, give me like.
Can you scroll on what's up there? Yeah,
Next page.
Oh, okay, yes, I can do that.
there you go.
Oh, okay, well,
Are you gonna check that? Okay. Okay, so. On that salary there, if y'all are looking at. Right, which I don't know that means or whatever. We can keep the number the same. If you're looking at $5,000 raise. Across the board over there, you can keep them to the $3,818. If what y'all consider,
so it's,
that's for the chief. If we do both, we do elections, because
Okay.
we had two chiefs, and that was not that.
no Indians,
No,
two chiefs and no Indians.
It's why we did this.
Okay, so Shannon's not entirely dedicated to elections, so what, how's this work? Okay,
Yeah, because that would be in, yeah.
Right.
It's just that, like, she comes up and she works the county with us.
Okay.
If we are short-handed, whether it's student lunch or if somebody's off, she comes down, she gets her deal, and she works like. Upstairs.
okay,
Our goal would be, yeah, 200%. Pushing to have it.
and the extra help is for election workers,
Yes.
okay? And that is, general and the primary
Okay.
and the
so-
runoff and, for next year,
Yeah, the blue line. The general, okay, so we had, when I scheduled this, I also included the special election in November because we didn't know what they were going to do with
right,
one position open, but they did.
combined,
Yeah.
right,
And so one election went away, so.
Not necessarily.
Me.
no, you're gonna have a runoff, most likely in
Okay.
December for that position.
With the party, I have a primary. Yes, they do. Mhm. I have a primary, yeah. And so I'm estimating per election. We spend probably about $30,000. But not just for salaries, I'm saying $30,000 for election.
Those total, does that include ballot printing?
Yes,
Okay,
usually that's.
plus labor ballot printing,
35 now, so I mean, it's gonna be, I don't know, I mean, if we're. You know, I don't know. paper's crazy, the printing's crazy, it's hard for me to gauge all this. You know, I think the last time when they printed the ballots, it was like $14,000 for printing in the ballot. And I think that included maybe the setup and everything, so yeah. It's hard to gauge it, I mean, you know, you call for a vote and they can't tell me what the vote's gonna be in November.
Mhm. So the current year expenditures. I don't know. How's, what were we talking about?
We were on.
Extra
Well,
help.
it's always on extra help.
At 84,000,
I don't understand that.
huh? 84,000 included.
Okay, so when you look at an election, I mean, because a portion of it we pay for, like she said, you know, if it's a primary,
Mhm.
we don't pay the election workers on election day. But we do pay the election workers if it's early voting.
Mhm.
So we pay for them early voting. Are we doing 3 weeks? Are we doing 2 weeks? They tell me that. Normally it's 2 weeks, but if they tell me that we're gonna be paying for 3 weeks, I have to pay everybody for 3 weeks. They call the shots. I can't.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to gauge what I'm doing.
How's that changed though from 2020 and 2021 and 2022? And you never went over $50,000.
Never went over 44.
Well, I mean, total, yeah.
I mean, I don't see doubling that. I don't see doubling that from 45,000 to 84. You've never spent but 43.9 in the last, since back to 2022. Your highest year was 43.9.
So.
I think 50 would be fun.
I do too.
It's gonna be plenty.
Yeah,
Okay. That.
'cause you got, you're always welcome to come back. We'll work with you. That, you know, when again, there's circumstances that we're not anticipating, but, you've got, November election and we have some expenses for the primary, correct?
We do.
For ballots, do we pay, do we buy the ballots or no?
No.
Okay, we're just
They
minors
usually pay for the ballot.
in a runoff and then,
We'll be paying like for, you know, when we're getting ready for the elections for our employees, we pay more than pay our
Right.
employees for, you know, the overtime. for work.
and what about the programming and setup for the machines? Is that paid by the parties?
Mhm.
Okay, and the school districts when they rent our machines, or is that part of the contract amount?
It's usually.
That's that, okay,
And they pay for the,
okay,
they'll usually look at them and try to get them to pick them for themselves.
okay,
So that they pay for it. But again, we'll be paying for our employees overtime and overtime.
all right. I believe $50,000 would be sufficient for the extra help. And then we'll work if we need to.
Katie's got something.
We always have an issue with the question, pays the worker and the judge. We never, we don't know the name. In the court set the amount of the pay the worker and what we pay the judge. I think we've done.
Hasn't it been set the same now, the last, okay,
Right now, we're paying
$12,
13
okay,
for every.
Let's
Yeah, it was very well.
yeah, I thought it was straight line, they're paying,
Previously, it used to be like $1. It was But then they were changing, might not have the same.
Okay.
Be the judge, the election judge, and it just. They couldn't keep up with them, what hours went to what. Yeah.
What do they make? What do they make?
Well, we need to find out from TAC what is the official, who sets the salary rates and then. No, we don't set them. Okay,
Because you're gonna find it. If all over. Some of them pay 16, and then pay 20.
mhm. Well, probably in the
Yeah.
urban areas, they're paying a lot more, but,
And I thought the last time it was 12 for a judge and 11 for a working, but now she said they're ready to take out things.
that's what I remember being 12 for everybody when last time I was election judge. Which 21, but the workers got the same, everybody got $12. So, but that's really not a point for this discussion, so we'll address that. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But as far as employees, you're fine with the number that you have, you just gotta fill all the positions, correct? You got one that you still need to fill. Okay. All right, so we're ready to go to postage? 22,000, you'll have to send out the voter registration cards at the end of this year,
Yes.
correct? To all 39,000 registered voters.
We've already gotten quotes from AMG. AMG was quoted $17,022 already, and they're gonna do, they do the honors, so they do the cards.
Mhm.
It'll be mailed.
All we get is a bill.
You get the bill. Okay, so included in the postage, the, all this is notices that will be sent out, which is about,
Mhm.
maybe 3,000.
So did we purge some rolls recently? At one point, we were over 39,000, and last count I got, we were at 38.
We go through. Mhm.
Okay,
And then we add them every day, because DPS is sending more stuff every day, so.
okay.
Okay, so this, when I do postage, it includes all the mail out kits.
So, what we don't want to do is put postage in there for mailing out the registration cards if it's part of a contract that we're going to be.
Okay, but that's all, it's all under postage, I have it all under postage.
Right.
I've always done it.
Okay,
That whole thing is just under postage.
so when you get the bill in for the company sending it out, you break it out to postage about.
Yes, goes up under that line.
So postage rates are going up 3 cents, I believe, too, but
Mhm.
I forget what that actual rate is. We have that somewhere. So. It's very odd, or unseen here. Even here, it looks like you're sending them out.
Do I?
Yeah,
So it wouldn't, it'd be,
it's higher on the even year.
okay. And that will be a 24.
Yes, sir.
I don't think it's I think you can get about 20, I'd have to do some calculating, but I think 20,000 would probably cover it easily. Because if they're mailing them out, using a service that, they can get a significant discount from 40 cents. Be 8 or whatever it's going to be. You have a problem going to 20? Or you want to leave it at 22 and then?
hang on, I'd rather leave it at 22.5. If the state changes the mail-in ballot situation and approves where, you know, we can ask questions when people are wanting to like right now, you know, you have to meet certain criteria. You know, but if they change that along the way, this everything changed. So if you want to do 20 and if that never changes and come back to the mail ballot, that's fine.
Well, you haven't substantiated the 20, that's what I'm getting at. You just said we're gonna handle a lot.
We mailing parts throughout the whole.
Right.
That's what we do.
No different than you're doing now, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
You have a lot of people moving in. I'm not saying it's 1,000 a month, but I'm just, again, I'm making sure that I'm not gonna go over budget. So we want to do 20, do 20.
I think 20
I'm not
would work.
doing that.
We're looking at
So,
six, you
that's
spent 16,000. We're getting, you got 4 more thousand. I don't know how many more stamps that'd be, but I think you could get by with 20.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the little part that scares me, it's the, you know, and down, but I'm being on now.
Can't find the sheet, so I don't know where that is. All right, let's do 20 for now.
Okay.
And then, training, that's in addition to the 9,000 from the other. No,
Yes, this is for elections on.
okay,
Okay, so we know that there's at least 3 schools. Okay, that 3 of us are gonna be going to. Usually it's just me and Shannon, but Tabitha's gonna do at least 2. So we just wanna make sure we got plenty of money. Some of the schools are mandated. We have a couple of them we can do online that's not included in this. They charge us just for the class and all the travel and the gas and stuff, which is good. And of course, we have we're lucky that our quarterly meetings are held here. We can't. It's the middle of where the hub. So we need to help you, so we don't have to travel for that.
You don't think 5 would still be good for that, Susan?
Sorry.
You don't think 5 would still be good for that?
Well, I figured usually when you do these schools, it costs us anywhere between. I don't know, the hotels are all over the place, so again, when I budgeted this, I'm making sure I'm above. So you don't want to cut it, we cut it, but I just don't like to hear that too. You know, but if that's what you want to do, that's okay.
You got,
want to keep it in the
you're
budget?
gonna try to train 4
Sure.
at-
Yeah.
in two schools?
No, we have at least 3 because TAC is added a school, so we have at least 3 schools. Possibly 4. And there's 3 of us going.
So 12. We're paying for 12 sessions.
Like I said, and most time, you know, like if there's just 2 of us, usually we'll stay in the same room. I mean, I try to save as much money as I can.
If you're doing 12 sessions, it's $200 a person. What? $500 a person. Yeah, 12.
I say leave it 6,500 and let's move on.
Painted service contracts, 40,000.
That's for the ESS equipment.
Yeah, so on that, I don't know.
Why are we at 0 this year? Why are we at 0 this year?
Because they didn't charge them when they came and did all of their stuff.
They didn't charge you or they haven't submitted the invoice?
I mean, in May, we paid 14,400. Okay, but already for our. Right, that was.
Okay, so the month is there, okay.
Okay.
So is that the annual contract,
That is.
14? Okay,
And they're supposed to be, I think, twice a year, I was looking at.
that would make sense for the 29,000 in 2021. Have they been any indication of the end of life and no more supporting our current machine?
Well, spend that, I mean, but they did come and work on the machines, told us all of them were working except for one. They said they were gonna try to get parts on it, and then when we had the May elections, I had to run over to Van and replace machine 3 times.
Mhm.
Twice, the original, and then go back over there twice, because the machines were not working.
How many machines do you have now that's out of order?
About half.
Yeah.
So
It's the big machine that's in Shannon's office, I mean, that's not ours, it's borrowed. Ours is sitting in the hallway, because we can't get parts for it to fix it.
so with the present machines that you have working now, would you be able to hold a primary election?
I'm not sure. Let's
Yeah.
put it this way, I would have enough,
We use the same machines for the general in
but if
November.
something goes down, if I have the same problem that I had over in Van, at a couple places, I'm in trouble. That's what it comes down to. The fear. And we had problems over in Bowden, in one of the elections where we had to have tap out, and she went over there twice. Have 4 locations, but have to replace machines 2 or 3 times. I don't have enough of that.
I think 40,000 is adequate for the contract. For them, it looks like it's probably about gonna be about 30,000 for a year. Taking it up. 40 would be fine. What is well, that's it, the bottom, other election expenses. What is that?
What is it?
Are we okay with 40,000 for the maintenance and service contract for the ESS equipment?
That 15,000 says the same, I can say. For landlord, he is on.
I need to look at that contract, you know, because watch it us, we didn't have a contract. There was no contract.
We only paid 10 and 29 and this thing. And you come up with what is coming in there, so. We'll be talking about that.
Yeah, let me look at that. I'll pull that contract and we'll look at it.
So
Because if it's.
the annual,
Oh, that's all 14.
so you feel comfortable with putting it back at 30 for this year, for this coming year? Same as what we got now.
Might even be less, because if the contract states. You know, if we pay, but they would pay 14, they even just up it. 34,000, I mean, we could be. You know what I'm saying?
There may be additional, may be able to buy additional parts or not, but with the money that we put in there. To help us make it a little bit longer, so I would, 30,000 to me seems sufficient. Anybody else have comments?
That's fine.
You okay with that, Susan?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the contract and
Okay,
take a look at it, I mean, because I just don't know, I'm sorry, I mean, I don't have to need to look at.
okay. So we can come back. We can come back for the final decision. Now, what are other election expenses is 40,000? What is consist of other election expenses?
Okay, so part of that is gonna be, I know that anytime I have an election, I usually have the on-site person there. And so that comes out of probably that line item here, and that's at least probably gonna be more like 15 to 20,000. It costs them, I think it charges like 5,000 some persons here.
A day?
On election day, that's the only day that would happen here. But when something goes down with the system, or, I think you had one person that went out when you were
Yes.
election judge, that's who went out, that's why they're here.
Yes, he was ineffective. They had to call and hire her. So, but yes, it's well worth having that service available. So does that include ballots? We didn't talk about where the ballots cost is.
So it's about,
That's
Yeah.
the ballot cost, okay?
That's some big kids. Bar comes to
yeah,
there's a $9,000 election charge, but yes. On-site parking.
That's probably one side.
yeah, that can total 9,000, yeah, that's. So that would have been two elections.
It's hard, I can actually see how it's hard to budget for. 1 year it's 15,000, next year it's 30,000, next year it's 55,000, but this year we're done with elections. And it's only 25,000.
It's the
So it's-
craziest thing, well, you know, when they'll throw in an extra election for you, and then you're out of budget, because was it last year's budget? The year before, we got done with budget, and within a week, I had to email everybody and say, hey, I'm already out of budget, because they threw another election in May for us. I believe I'm-
I think 4,000 is safe
Okay.
for other expenses there.
And if something comes up, I mean, I'll make sure, y'all, I'm sure y'all will hear it, but I'll make sure. Keep y'all.
That will include this coming November election in the primary, although most of the primary expenses are paid by
Yes.
the parties.
And this doesn't have anything to, in Tabitha's pay supplemented out of elections.
It's that top number there. Is
Hmm.
part of it. Yes.
That's to Tabitha. So Shannon doesn't get any supplement out of elections. Hers is all out of your clerk's office.
Right.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah. One of these days, we'll have an election. Department.
Well, Andy just mentioned a while ago that he, like it was Shannon getting the supplement, it's not, it's Tabitha getting.
Right,
Right.
And the reason we did that is because, like I said, when I took office, well, even before that, there was 2 chiefs in the office. You only had like 4 or 5 employees for 2 chiefs, and that was not working.
Mhm.
That was also in that was not.
Mhm. But that situation's been resolved.
Yeah.
Do that. All right.
Believe me, Shannon's well worked.
Mhm. All right, we ready to move on? Election equipment, what we want to do? I know it's,
Right.
I don't believe that it would be prudent for us to spend any money on election equipment this fiscal year, which we have budgeted in there. Again, I'll be bringing before the court, next Wednesday about whether or not, about the hand counting in votes and seeing which your pleasure is.
To do what now?
I'll be bringing before the court next commissioner court meeting on the 5th to get permission or approval from the commissioner court to do hand counting of ballots in November.
Okay, so we're not doing the hand count election day. in November.
That's correct. That's correct.
We're not doing,
That is correct.
wait, that is correct, that we're not doing that?
That is correct, yes.
Okay,
Regardless, I still need to get permission from the court to allow us to do the hand count 1 or 2 weeks after the election.
okay, so. Okay,
And then, once the commissioner court gives approval, then I go to the district judge,
okay,
I
that's
get his approval, and then I go to the state secretary of state to get their approval.
okay, with
So-
that being said. I'm just asking. So, does my offices stay open and everything, so that we'll make sure that we can staff. The help, in other words, I'll be up there, but when I say.
We don't need to discuss the procedure for the hand count until we get approval for the hand
I'm
count.
just making sure that I'm covered. But that's fine, we'll talk about it.
Right.
I just want to make sure that it wasn't on election day. in
No,
November.
that is not the plan, as I've said. We'll do it a week or 2 weeks later.
Okay,
So-
so the people out there are not thinking, just so you know.
That I understand.
Like, you know,
Don't you normally do after 60 days, don't you do a hand count on
we do a hand count on whatever the state.
whatever the state tells us to
and
do?
It's within the 60 days.
It's within that 60
Usually a couple weeks after they send us an email, they pick 3 boxes, they tell us what we have.
So I guess the question is, do we want to go ahead and budget for new equipment in the next fiscal year or not? We can do that and not spend it, or we can just not put it in there and wait another year, depending on what we've got. We've got what we find out from the hand count. You know, the purpose of the hand count is to just go through, find out what the benchmark it to figure out how many people it's going to take, how long it's going to take, and you know, how it will be handled before we ever try to do it live. And that's the purpose. So
Hand count, what are you talking about? Hand counting everything that.
every ballot. that was
Every ballot?
cast, yeah,
About every office in the box.
I think you need a budget for them.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta put it in the budget.
I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm for buying everything,
right,
but I'm saying we still need a budget for it.
okay,
I think because we for sure, if we don't do anything but buy new counters, our machines now are not voting machines, they're counters. And
Say that again.
the equipment we have right now are not voting machines, they're counters. They count a ballot, they tabulate ballots. And our counters are broken. For most of them.
And what we demoed the other day, which was another mental county, another county. Also.
we're doing, yes, everything's the same, the procedure is exactly the same, it's just new equipment is what we're looking at. So
And I gotta ask,
Do what now? Okay, go ahead.
go ahead.
What'd you say, 90?
I said the procedure is the same with the new equipment as the way we operate with our own, other than the fact that we could print the ballot on demand with the new equipment, rather than have to go out and print the ballots beforehand and have to throw away thousands of ballots that we don't use.
Understand, but that is the biggest drawback that the people are worried about is ballots on demand. Or they're worried about that and they're worried about countywide voting. That's the biggest flaw. Set all that aside, we still probably need new counters.
So the money needs to be put in the budget.
I
We
agree.
need to budget,
I think so, yes, sir.
need to budget the same thing as we budgeted this year. Just roll it over.
Okay? That makes it easy. Roll it, everybody agree?
And if something,
Roll it over.
yes, sir, and if something happens and we don't, then if we go, if people prove to us that you don't have to have counters, that you can do it by hand, then we can do something with the money.
I think it would be safe for us to take it down 100,000. Based on a quote that I've seen. I think it. From me. 900,000. I think
That's fine with me.
it'll be
Only to cover the quote.
well under that, but I think we could take it down to 900,000 without an issue.
Last year you had me budget on the revenue side, fine, you started at offset.
Mhm.
On the side, whether you want to protect from the fund balance, or you finance.
Right.
You want to do that.
Yes,
This is an offset,
right,
it's a choice.
So-
Leave you a choice.
Yes, ma'am.
all right,
I got a question. We had that whole conversation about Constable Ford and the logic earlier. And it was made pretty clear that once it's in the budget, the elected official can spend it, not up to us.
That's correct.
When we're on a line from Chad, we have to look at how much money they have the money there, but it's just out of the policy that the courts have said. We have to approve it. We cannot micromanage expenditures.
It's in the budget.
As long as it falls within the policy that the court said, we have to approve it.
and what policy is that the court has set?
Any of your, the fuel, the credit card policies, the purchasing policy.
Okay,
You don't actually have a policy on,
we don't have a written policy book, correct? With these policies in them?
not for what you can spend out of, like, what you
Okay.
can spend out of. I mean, we look at it. We would, if they wanted to pay for a contract out of, like, we would question that, make a note of it, to the correct coding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know that business lanes budget is for policy, so if we're in that budget, if we're gonna put that on.
So that's kind of the same here. We've approved the issue for the budget.
But we
$1
did
million.
that last year. You know, for this year, we approved it, and y'all asked me not to spend the money. I mean, I've never seen it actually in the budget.
Who actually looks at, I mean, you were told the order of election last year.
No, I wasn't. They told me not to order it. They told me they would set the money aside, but do not order the equipment. Do not spend the money because they wanted to use the ARPA money, possibly if there's any money left, and it can report back and forth, no. Because if so, I'm gonna order the equipment today, it's up to me.
Well, that's an expenditure as opposed to an RFP.
You know,
Yeah.
It said in the report. When we went back and forth.
I disagree. The court I was sitting in, the instruction was Susan moved forward with getting the voting equipment.
Okay.
And
Listen to that.
And if this stuff's on, if this is on a co-op like Houston Galveston, you don't have to do an RFP.
Yeah,
It's already been bid.
It's not, if it's already in one of our cooperative agreements, it don't make a big. So I don't think this court is in a position right now where we can't tell her she can't get it, we can't tell her she can't get it, we've allotted her money. And it's kind of like hand counting, we can't make her hand count, she's an elected official over that department.
I agree with that, but I was trying to abide by the board, what they asked me to do, they asked me not to spend the money on the equipment.
There was some discussion.
Y'all didn't, because I didn't. The last meeting I was in on that, we said, Susan, move forward with it. Because people have asked me along,
all of that, because y'all, we're gonna try to use that money first, and then if that money would not be available or couldn't be used, then we went back and forth.
Susan, if we didn't want you to spend it, we wouldn't put it in there.
I'm
I think when we got later in the year, realized we may not have an answer. You told us if you want to spend it, spend it. But anyway, it's in your budget. Or what I've been told today, you can spend it.
Well, if
We don't
to
have control over that.
solve that problem, Sandy, can you just put that $900,000 and just separate line item over here to the side, and when we decide what we're gonna do, if we're gonna bond, then we can just move it over? Yeah, solve that, right? Can we do that?
For the phrase that can go into the contingency of the general fund, that's generally contingency line.
Yeah, I don't, was kind of under the assumption that like anything that's over $50,000, you have to go out on bid on. That there was a certain amount that had to come through, especially if it's a contract or a bid, that has to come through the commissioner's court for approval. And I'm not comfortable with a county official going out and buying $500,000 or more of equipment because it's in their budget. So I think we need to review what the policies are that we're abiding by in the spending of money in this county. And but not right now. So
Well, I agree, and that's what I thought this time last year, Susan, we said October the 1st, you bring us prices, because the comment was said, well, I don't know if Hardly can give us one, because I've gone to them 5 times and they gave us prices and we didn't do nothing on it. So they're mad at us. So they may not give us a price, but it was the intention, Chad, you and Virgil, you have to help me. It was the intention of that budget last October the 1st for Susan, to prepare us a price of what a voting equipment would cost us. And we budgeted $1 million. Where it was going to come from, yes, we did not know. That's why we told Sandy to allow for financing. If we could, we was going to take it from ARPA. If we couldn't, we were going to have to finance it. But for 6 years, I've been told that we have got to have voting equipment, and nothing's been done. So
I'm gonna go back and listen to it, because I know I walked out of the meeting and it said, you know, please don't spend the money.
and which meeting was that, the budget meeting last year?
I'm gonna,
Because I don't think we've. So we're gonna do 900,000. We're doing the same manner.
Yeah, if it,
Okay.
I guess now, that's, you're saying that that's gonna cover it.
Yes,
Okay,
it should go.
okay.
And we may not end up getting ballot on demand. We may not, so we wouldn't need the printers for there. So we'll just see. All right, anything else, Susan?
that's it.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
no, sir.
All
Not
right.
for me anyway.
Call the meeting to close at 12:13. Sorry, what time we open the meeting?
9:12.
11, yeah, 9:12. 9:12.
Let's go.
Did, I got a notice that I lost internet connection. I don't know if this, did it continue to,